You wake up when your body is ready. No alarm, no schedule, no place you need to be. You stretch, look around, and ask yourself one simple question. What should I do today? For 99% of human history, that wasn't a philosophical exercise. That was every single morning for roughly 300,000 years. And the answer looked nothing like the life you're living right now. Modern humans spend about 90,000 hours of their lives working. 1/3 of your entire waking existence handed over to a job. But for the overwhelming majority of human history, jobs didn't exist. No employment, no wages, no boss, no career ladder. So what did people actually do all day? In 1963, archaeologist Richard Lee tracked the daily activities of the hoansi people in Botswana, one of the few remaining groups still living in a way that resembles pre-agricultural human life. What he found would change everything we thought we knew. Adults spent about 2.5 days per week acquiring food, roughly 17 hours. The rest of the time, they did whatever they wanted. And this wasn't a fluke. The Hadza in Tanzania, the Arche in Paraguay, the Matu in Australia, different continents, different environments, completely different cultures, same result, 15 to 20 hours a week on survival. For context, you probably work twice that. Now some of you are thinking, but those are modern people. How do we know ancient humans lived the same way? Fair question. And the answer comes from bones. When archaeologists compare ancient human skeletons to those of early farmers, the difference is stark. Farmers were shorter. Their bones show nutritional deficiencies. Their teeth were riddled with cavities from grain-heavy diets. Their spines show arthritis from repetitive labor. They died younger. Ancient hunter-gatherers, taller, stronger, healthier teeth, less joint damage. Their bones tell a clear story. They were doing less repetitive labor, not more. But the most revealing evidence is something that has no business existing if survival was a constant struggle. Art. In 1994, explorers discovered Chauvet Cave in southern France. Inside were paintings created roughly 30,000 years ago. Horses, lions, rhinoceroses, rendered with perspective, shading, and movement. Not crude stick figures, sophisticated art that required skill, planning, and most importantly, time. Someone spent hours, maybe days, deep inside a cave by firelight, painting animals on a wall. Not for food, not for survival, for beauty, for meaning, for something to do. In Blombos Cave in South Africa, archaeologists found 100,000-year-old perforated shell beads, tiny holes drilled through seashells, clearly meant to be strung as jewelry. The nearest coastline was 20 kilometers away. Someone walked 40 kilometers round trip just to collect shells, then spent hours carefully drilling them with stone tools, just to look good. In 2008, researchers found a 40,000-year-old flute carved from a vulture bone in Germany, 5 finger holes, perfectly spaced. Whoever made this understood music, they understood pitch, and they spent significant time crafting it. Not for hunting, not for defense, for music. These aren't isolated finds. Across Europe, Africa, and Asia, sites from 100,000 years ago onward are filled with decorative objects, elaborately crafted tools far beyond what survival demanded, items that required hours of focused work with zero immediate practical benefit. This is what people did with their time. They created, they decorated, they made things beautiful. So let's reconstruct a day. You wake up around dawn. The fire from last night is still smoldering. Someone adds wood. You eat leftover meat or some nuts collected the day before. Breakfast is unhurried. People talk, plan loosely, not because they have to, but because that's what humans do. Around mid-morning, a small group might head out to hunt or gather. But here's the key. You don't go every day. If the hunt was successful 2 days ago and food is stored, you might not leave camp at all. You might spend the morning sharpening a spear, weaving a basket, scraping an animal hide. Not work in the modern sense. No clock, no supervisor. You do it because competence matters, because being skilled earns respect, because making something well is part of being human. When hunting does happen, it's nothing like the frantic chase you see in movies. Humans are persistence hunters. We track animals at a steady jog for hours until they overheat and collapse. We're the only species that can do this effectively, because we can sweat and regulate body temperature while running. Most animals can't, so we simply outlast them. The hunt takes 3 to 6 hours, including travel. Butchered, and everyone eats together. By early afternoon, the productive part of the day is essentially over. What comes next is what modern people find hardest to understand. Nothing and everything. People rest. They sit in the shade and talk. They play with children. They groom each other, picking through hair, reinforcing bonds. They make jewelry from shells or animal teeth. They carve designs into bone and stone. They nap.
Anthropologist Polly Weissner documented that among the Jew hoansi, adults spend roughly 6 hours a day in what she called social time. Not working, not sleeping, just being with other people. Talking, laughing, telling jokes. Because in a world without money, without police, without written contracts, your survival depends entirely on your relationships. If people don't like you, they don't share food when you're hungry. So you invest enormous amounts of time in those bonds. Not because it's productive, because it's how humans stay human. Then the sun sets, and this is where something remarkable happens. Weissner analyzed hundreds of hours of recorded conversations from the Jew hoansi. During the day, talk was practical. Who saw animal tracks? Which plants were ready? Complaints about someone not pulling their weight. But at night, around the fire, 81% of conversations shifted entirely. Myths about how the world began, tales of ancestors who did impossible things, jokes that made everyone laugh until their sides hurt, stories from places far away. Weissner argued this is where human culture was actually born. Gods, spirits, the past, the future, things you can only think about when your stomach is full and you're safe. And sleep wasn't the solid 8-hour block you chase every night. Historical records from medieval Europe, combined with sleep studies from the 1990s, confirm that before artificial light, humans slept in 2 phases. First sleep, about 4 hours, then a wakeful period of 1 to 2 hours in complete darkness, then second sleep for another 4 hours. The middle hours weren't insomnia, they were used for reflection, for quiet conversation, for intimacy. So here's the full picture of a day. 4 to 6 hours securing food or crafting tools, 6 hours in social interaction, storytelling, grooming, playing, 8 hours of sleep in 2 natural phases, and the rest, resting, sitting, watching clouds drift, doing nothing in particular, existing without needing to justify your existence through productivity. Then about 10,000 years ago, something changed. Humans in the Fertile Crescent began planting seeds and domesticating animals. And agriculture is a trap. Once you start farming, you can feed more people. More people means you need more food. More food means more farming. Within a few generations, populations exploded, and there was no going back. Too many mouths now. The old way was gone, and farming demanded far more labor. Plowing, planting, weeding, harvesting, storing, defending crops from animals and raiders. The skeletal evidence is unambiguous. Early farmers worked harder, ate worse, and died younger than the hunter-gatherers who came before them. But the population kept growing. With larger populations came specialists, toolmakers, potters, weavers, then soldiers, priests, administrators, and eventually jobs, employment, the idea that your time belonged to someone else in exchange for resources. By the time we built cities, the original human life was gone, replaced by schedules, obligations, and the relentless need to justify your hours. Today you spend 90,000 hours working. Your ancestors spent a fraction of that. You sleep in 1 block and call waking at 2 a.m. insomnia. They slept in 2 phases and used those quiet middle hours for thought. You chase an idea of success, achievements, wealth, status, measured by standards society invented, long after we forgot what human life actually looked like. They woke up every morning already free, already enough, with nothing to prove to anyone. They didn't need to become successful. They were already living the life you're spending your entire existence trying to retire into. You make art if you can find time after your job. They made art because they had time. And that's what humans do when they're left to be human. We're not a different species, but we live so differently from how humans lived for 99% of our existence that we might as well be. We traded freedom for food security, leisure for population growth, time for productivity, and somewhere along the way,
We forgot that the life we're desperately working toward, the one with rest and connection and creativity and meaning, was once just called Tuesday.